WCBI News at 10 starts now.
A new COVID-19 treatment is being studied in the Jackson area, and the early results are promising. It's been about a month ago that we first reported about a study being done by GI Associates in St. Dominic's Hospital. But as Cordy Ann Jackson explains, even before that launched, the same combination of drugs was being studied for critical patients already in the hospital.
There's still no proven treatment for COVID-19, yet the immune system's reaction and the inflammatory response known as the cytokine storm is something Dr. Reed Hogan and GI Associates were familiar with.
If we didn't have utmost faith that we could modify the cytokine storm, we never would have entered into even thinking we could possibly, a bunch of GI docs and pulmonary docs in Jackson, Mississippi, treat coronavirus.
But his research team had nearly a decade's worth of data on how the combination of two over-the-counter drugs, an antihistamine and antacid, could attack that inflammation.
And when we first started this study, our intensive care physicians, they basically said, we admit patients, we follow them, hope to keep them off the ventilator. Then once they get on the ventilator, unfortunately, we watch them die because we have zero to offer them. Everything's fallen by the wayside on the early treatment protocols. So
they've now published their findings from a study that was conducted from early April to mid-June at Baptist Hospital in Jackson.
We decided, let's go for the sickest patients and see if we can make a difference.
Most notably, when patients received this combination of drugs, the death rate was reduced 25 to 40%. It also reduced the need for a ventilator. Those on ventilators were able to come off of them.
That was kind of surprising to us that some of these patients were so sick that we got quite a few patients that were on the ventilator at the start, and we managed to get a significant number of patients off the ventilator, which we found very encouraging.
Hogan stresses this isn't a silver bullet. It's what they call a proof of concept study, but one that's proving promising.
We have the science to back it up, and it looks like we have some fairly good results that are definitely worth pursuing.
Cordy Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
There is also an outpatient trial using the same drugs. But until there is a treatment or a vaccine, we need to take extra precautions. That's what led Columbus City leaders to pass an ordinance last night requiring masks or face coverings in public. Today they fine-tuned that ordinance. Some of the changes include customers dining in restaurants and bars are not required to wear a mask, but those waiting in the common area are encouraged to do so. And you won't be required to wear a mask in a gym if you're working out. But if you're not, you'll need one.
The city already had in place regulations to require businesses that serve customers to ensure that they maintain social distance and that their employees wear masks. This new change requires public going in a retail business where customers are served to wear a mask also.
Business owners and managers are not required to enforce regulations on customers, but if they see a violation, they should notify law enforcement. Governor Tate Reeves says expect to see more restrictions in the near future. 674 new COVID-19 cases were reported by the Mississippi State Department of Health, along with 30 new deaths today. The governor and state health officer, Dr. Thomas Dobbs, strongly encourage Mississippians to mask up if they're out in public and can't social distance. Governor Reeves says the state's healthcare system is being stretched and that Mississippians need to take the virus more seriously. Reeves says one way to help combat the spread could be issuing mask mandates on a county-by-county basis.
What I'm asking my fellow Mississippians to think about today is if I don't adhere to the guidelines and I contract the virus, well, maybe it won't be that bad on me. Well, and that may be true. But if you spread it to 2 or 3 people who take up 2 or 3 ICU beds, and then your daughter or your granddaughter is in an automobile accident or in a 4-wheeler accident, and they need to go to the hospital, and there are no ICU beds available, then you're putting those individuals at risk as well.
The governor didn't specify when stricter guidelines could come, but added that nothing was off the table.
Well, look at this. A Minnesota tornado caught on camera earlier today. Our spring tornadoes basically shifted back across the high plains and the northern plains. Very violent weather up there. Around here this evening, wow, a great burst of color. Let's show you one of these great pictures we had earlier this evening. Leanne sends us that. Hopefully you saw it. Not too bad out there this evening, although we still have a few isolated downpours, one of which we're along the trace near French Camp. This is drifting east-southeast, so still a little bit of wet weather out there. Most spots not seeing it. We could still see some additional showers or thunder showers later this evening and tonight, especially across the southwestern areas right here. So can't rule it out. And also tomorrow, more of the same expected, upper 80s to around 90. Warm and muggy. Scattered showers and storms likely. Your full forecast, Scott, coming up.
All right, Keith, thanks so much. The Washington Post reports more than 80 Confederate monuments have come down over the last 5 years. A third of those have been removed since George Floyd was killed in police custody on May 25th. Just this week, the Lowndes County Board of Supervisors approved moving the county's monument from the courthouse lawn. Now, Wcbi County will soon do the same.
We discussed the monument last month. We had our attorney to check out the legalities of it. So we found out everything was legal for us to go ahead and vote to relocate it.
We don't know how much it's going to cost. We've had a figure of about $10,000 based on a conversation that I had with someone else. We're going to definitely work with the Historical Society, also some local individuals who are flexible to actually encourage and raise the money to help move. We're going to do all of this without using any public funds.
Supervisors say the statue will be moved sometime in the next 3 to 6 months. For many years, animal advocates here in Mississippi have been pushing for stricter animal cruelty laws. And just last week, Governor Tate Reeves signed off on a bill that will do just that. Bobby Martinez has more on why supporters say this bill is so important. Now, we should warn you, some of the images in the story are graphic.
I had one little dog. Someone poured boiling water on her head and it rolled down around her ears, and when she sat down it cooked into her back.
This is one of many animal cruelty cases Dahl Stanley has witnessed firsthand. Stanley, who was a part of the animal protection organization called In Defense of Animals, says this new bill fixes an issue the previous bill didn't have.
When the dog and cat law was passed in 2011, it restricted the ability of law enforcement and people who are affiants like myself from charging a count for each animal that was violated.
In addition to felony charges, Stanley says those convicted must fulfill another requirement.
Anyone who is harming a companion animal, dog or cat, if convicted or if they plead, one of the components is mental health evaluation and treatment.
Karen John Wick, director at Columbus Lowndes Humane Society, is hoping this new bill is a step in the right direction.
I do actually believe that it's going to help prevent some of the cases, because before, if you were an animal hoarder or something, you just kind of got a slap on the wrist and you could have had 50 or 100 animals. Well, now the new bill, you're going to actually be penalized for each animal.
John Wick says she is on board with the mental health evaluation.
These people can get the help they need, and then they won't continue, hopefully, doing the same thing. Because a lot of times once they start, it's a continued effort for the rest of their lives.
That was our Bobby Martinez reporting. If you'd like to learn more on the new bill, just visit our website, wcbi.com. As many as 125,000 women could lose contraceptive coverage from their employer-sponsored health insurance. This after a Supreme Court ruling today. The 7-2 majority included Chief Justice John Roberts, who we just learned suffered an injury last month. CBS's Jen Crawford has the latest from Washington, D.C.
The 65-year-old Chief Justice was walking for exercise near his Maryland home on Father's Day when he fell and hit his head, requiring stitches. Having suffered seizures in the past, Roberts was taken by ambulance to a local hospital and kept overnight. Doctors ruled out a seizure, the court said, and believed the fall was likely due to lightheadedness caused by dehydration. Justices aren't required to reveal health issues, and the news leaked only after the Washington Post got a tip. Roberts has played a dominant role this term, siding with his liberal colleagues on landmark decisions involving immigration, abortion rights, and LGBTQ protections. Wednesday, he was back voting with conservatives in 2 religion cases, siding with the Trump administration to allow employers with religious or moral objections to opt out of providing free contraceptive coverage under the Affordable Care Act. It all sets the stage for one of the most hotly anticipated decisions of the term, whether President Trump's financial records and tax returns could finally be made public.
House Democrats and the Manhattan District Attorney are trying to get a hold of those records, and the court's decision could have major political implications, not only for the president, but for the Supreme Court as an issue in November. Jan Crawford, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
2 of the court's liberal-leaning justices, Stephen Breyer and Elena Kagan, sided with the conservative majority in today's ruling. All right, we're going to send things back over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Keith, not so much rain today, but still hot and humid.
Yeah.
That's all we can say.
What,
grab popsicles, ice cream.
What can we say at this point, Scott? We're in the middle of the dog days of summer, and there goes that very hot sun this evening. Stay connected with us here on social media. I'm back with you for forecast.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Looking ahead at next week, we have more heat, more humidity coming our way. Our first alert forecast tonight, we've got Rascal, and Rascal is already in the mindset for heat and humidity. Low to mid 90s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Rain chances go down, temperatures go up. Humidity is entrenched, and the heat index should be over 105. So we're going to be like Rascal here as we get into next week, especially if you have a cool place to be in front of a fan, in front of the air conditioner. There's our time lapse from Tupelo tonight with our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. We saw a little bit of rain up here across northern Tishomingo County earlier. That has faded away. We still have a downpour of sorts just to the northeast of French Camp. Let's just say right near French Camp, right along the trace. And that's moving towards Ackerman right now. So a little bit of wet weather. What we had been watching now, the Delta has fallen apart, but there's still a little bit of rain out there, and there's a little bit of additional activity that we could see flare up later tonight into tomorrow morning. So that's why we are expecting the opportunity for some showers or thunder showers still later tonight, and also during the day tomorrow. Plenty of heat, plenty of humidity, highs around 90. With higher heat in this season. We may see some storms linger into tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. Another batch could try to come on down from the northwest tomorrow night. That's something we're going to watch out for. And we may see another one as we get into the weekend too. So rain and storm chances continue. Locally heavy downpours, warm and humid weather, and the heat index 100 to 105. And we say plus there because as we go forward in time, we may see the heat index well above 105 in some instances. So right now, let's savor the 74 in Columbus, 80 in Memphis. It's still pretty toasty back to the west. And as we advance into your Friday, we are advertising now the heat index in the triple digits everywhere here in our region. So tonight, low 70s and a chance for an isolated shower storm or two here. Tomorrow, your Thursday, more of the same, upper 80s, Columbus, Calhoun City, Tupelo, a shot at 90. Tupelo, you reached 90 today, but some of you across the southern areas only topped out in the mid-80s because of the cloud cover and more of the rain we had across the southern reaches today. 91 in Jackson tomorrow, 90 in Birmingham. If you are doing any traveling, you may run into some of those downpours. Your wipers may be needed in your vehicle. We are looking at those 90s coming on back with a vengeance as we go throughout the weekend into next week. Lows in the 70s. Elevated rain chances here through the weekend. Maybe some of those storm complexes, but pretty dry it looks like next week with plenty of heat and humidity. All right, stay with us. More of the show after the break.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. The Mississippi heat, we know it's nothing to mess around with. We learn more about dehydration in tonight's Health Talk with Baptist.
Hi, I am Lee Richardson, a physician in the emergency room at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. Dehydration occurs when there isn't enough water in your body to replace what's lost throughout the day. Your system literally dries out. Sometimes dehydration occurs for simple reasons. You may not drink enough because you're sick or busy or because you lack access to safe drinking water, such as when you're traveling, hiking, or camping. Dehydration also can occur when you have severe acute diarrhea, which can cause tremendous loss of water and electrolytes in a short amount of time. If you have vomiting along with diarrhea, you lose even more fluids and minerals. Children and infants are especially at risk. Other causes of dehydration include fever. In general, the higher the fever, the more dehydrated you become. Excessive sweating. If you do vigorous activity and don't replace fluids as you go along, you can become dehydrated. Hot, humid weather increases the amount you sweat and the amount of fluid you lose. But you can also become dehydrated in winter if you don't replace lost fluids. Increased urination. This is most often the result of undiagnosed or uncontrolled diabetes, a disease that affects the way your body uses blood sugar. This type of diabetes often causes increased thirst and more frequent urination. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, when we will discuss who is at risk for dehydration and how it is treated.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
The high school football tour continues on. We preview the Water Valley Blue Devils next in sports.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
Next up on the high school football tour, we take a look at the Blue Devils in Water Valley. Head coach Brad Embry looks to retool rather than rebuild, as the Devils have key players at key positions to replace this season. Water Valley is stop number 17 on the high school football tour.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
It's back to the basics for the Blue Devils in Water Valley. Last season's senior-heavy team posted an 8-4 record and another postseason appearance. Now the Blue Devils only returned 6 seniors, but have high hopes for the young guys.
The good thing is when you have young guys, if they're athletic and they're hungry and they're excited, it's fun.
Trying to help them as best I can, because last year was my first year starting, so I know how hard it was on me. So the best I can help the young guys, I think it's the best thing I can do, help them as good as I can.
Water Valley has its work cut out moving forward. With the core of the 2018 state championship team graduated, this year's squad looks to step in and make its own name.
You want to say you just reload, and that's what we're planning to do. You know, the guys look at it, it's their time to do their part.
They do a great job. We always come in, we work hard every day, and we always do things right, and that's one of the main things we focus on, doing it right.
That work ethic will be put to the test as the Blue Devils have to replace dual threat quarterback Jacob Truss. Heading into the season, head coach Brad Embry is confident that a leader will step up among the group.
They've got to be a leader. You know, you can lead in different ways. Everyone's not a verbal leader, but they've got to learn that as well. You know, so they've got to come in and learn the fundamentals, learn the schemes, and learn to lead. And it's a lot on a young man. But I'm confident in the guys we have. You know, even though they're young, they're athletic. They have the tools to play quarterback. So just, you know, it's part of it. That's what you want to do. You know, each and every year you got to build your team from the ground up, and we're definitely coming from the ground up this year.
The team isn't using that inexperience as an excuse, as players continue to put in extra work to be ready for the season.
You'll come in at any time during the middle of the day, at night, and there's a group of them met out here running stadiums, you know, doing whatever. So there's a work ethic, and you know, that's not us, that's not coaches, that's the kids, and that's the, you know, like you said, the foundation that's been set of work. And I'm proud of that.
Everybody's been working hard, even when we're not here. We come back almost every day. Guys are at the field running, working out. So we've worked hard this year. I think we'll be strong.
Reporting in Water Valley on the high school football tour, Chris Bolton, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with Water Valley High School is brought to you by Turnage Drugstore.
Here's a look at the upcoming stops for the rest of the high school football tour for the remainder of the week. Stop number 18, we check in with Nettleton on Thursday. Stop number 19, we check in with East Union and Urch It Up on Friday. Stop number 20 checks in with the Blue Devils in Boonville for Saturday to kick off your weekend. And then we finish out the weekend with stop number 21, the Hatley Tigers. Then we get into Alabama week. Stop number 22 for Alabama week kicks off with the South Lamar Stallions on Monday. Stop number 23 3 checks in with Lamar County on Tuesday. Stop number 24 checks in with the Pickens County tornadoes coming up on Wednesday, July 15th. And then stop number 25 checks in with the Gordo Greenway for Thursday, July 16th. And we finish out Alabama week with stop number 26 in Aliceville, Friday, July 17th. For any of those stops you may have missed, you can always go to our website, wcbi.com. That's it for sports. More for you when we come back. Stay with us.
All right, we had a technical glitch before the show, so you might have missed tonight's Powerball numbers, so we want to make sure you get them. Here they are: 3, 10, 34, 36, 62. The Powerball is 5, and tonight's Power Play is 10 times. Good luck, and if you win, you know where to find me and Keith. You know where to find us.
Hey, yes. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, speaking of numbers, we've got some numbers you probably don't want to see. We've got 90s back in the forecast, plenty of heat, plenty of humidity, lows in the 70s. Now, there could be a few isolated showers and storms tonight, also scattered for our Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We could also see a few storm complexes here this weekend. If those roll on in from the northwest, maybe some higher wind potential. Next week, rain chances go down, Scott. Temperatures go up.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.